The alien students arrived on Earth with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. Coming from a peaceful, advanced species that had long mastered technology and harmony with their surroundings, they found themselves stepping onto a planet known throughout the galaxy for one thing, being a death world. It was a term whispered in many interstellar circles, often with a sense of dread and awe. The students had been briefed on Earth's violent past, its inhospitable climates, and its history of conflict, but nothing could truly prepare them for what lay ahead. From their perspective, their species had always thrived in environments that were calm and controlled. Their planet was an example of perfect equilibrium, where creatures lived in balance with nature. So when they landed on Earth, their first thoughts were filled with fascination. The idea of a planet so filled with diverse life forms, so seemingly chaotic, was both perplexing and exciting. Yet, they were also told that Earth had a dark reputation, one that few other species dared to challenge. The alien students weren't sure what to expect. Were Earth's dangers exaggerated, or was this truly the terrifying place that its reputation suggested? As their tour began, the students marveled at the diversity of life forms. Earth was nothing like the controlled, pristine environments they were accustomed to. This was a planet of extremes, with jungles that raged with life and deserts that could easily swallow a living being whole. The ecosystems seemed at war with one another, and everything, from the plants to the creatures, was designed to survive through constant struggle. Yet, the students remained confident that as long as they adhered to their strict protocols, they would remain safe. Earth's dangerous reputation, they believed, was perhaps a bit exaggerated by species that hadn't had the fortune of technological advancements. Their guide, a human scientist, told them stories of how Earth's creatures had evolved over millions of years, each one becoming more capable of surviving in this harsh environment. Some creatures had developed extraordinary camouflage to avoid predators, while others had developed brutal offensive capabilities to fight for food or territory. The students were told that Earth had one of the highest rates of species turnover in the galaxy. Every corner of the planet seemed to demand an endless battle for survival. Yet, as they took their first steps into Earth's wilderness zones, they couldn't quite grasp the full extent of what this meant. Though they were initially skeptical, the students were intrigued by the human concept of survival. Earth's inhabitants were said to possess an unmatched ability to adapt, an instinct that had allowed them to flourish in such an unforgiving environment. The students knew that life on Earth was dangerous, but the true threat was not yet fully apparent. They assumed it was simply a matter of acclimatizing to a planet with more threats than their peaceful homeworld. But there was something that they couldn't yet understand. Earth wasn't just a death world because it was hostile. It was a death world because its inhabitants were capable of surviving and even thriving in it. With these thoughts in mind, the students eagerly anticipated their first encounters with Earth's creatures. After all, their species was known for its advanced scientific understanding, and they believed that no animal could pose a threat to them with the technology and knowledge they brought. They were ready to observe, learn, and perhaps even conquer the wilds of Earth themselves. Little did they know, their understanding of Earth was about to be shaken to its core. The students were now faced with an even more surprising discovery. It wasn't just the predators or the environment that made Earth a death world. It was the humans themselves. Despite all the dangers Earth presented, it was the humans who had managed to thrive, adapt, and even dominate this hostile world. The students, still shaken from their recent experiences with Earth's wildlife, were stunned by the realization that the true survivors on this planet weren't just its animals. They were the humans. The aliens began to witness humanity's unique ability to not just survive Earth's dangers, but to reshape their environment to suit their needs. They saw humans navigating dense, perilous jungles, their movements deliberate, strategic, and efficient. The humans did not rely on brute strength or size like the creatures they had observed. Instead, they used tools, ingenuity, and cooperation. Humans built shelter where no shelter should have been possible, crafting homes in places where any other species would have perished from the elements. Even in the face of Earth's most violent storms, humans pressed on, developing technologies and techniques to mitigate the dangers of their own planet. It was not just survival, it was a relentless drive to conquer and control. But what fascinated the students most was how humans seemed to take the dangers of their environment in stride. Where the alien students saw death, the humans saw opportunity. They had turned Earth's deadliest features into tools for advancement, finding ways to turn wild lands into cities, to harvest resources from the most hostile territories, and even to tame and domesticate creatures that would have been seen as threats by any other species. The students watched in awe as humans used fire to forge tools, controlled ecosystems through agriculture, and even found ways to repel the very animals that once hunted them. Humans were not just fighting for survival, they were actively shaping their world in ways that no other species had ever done before. The students were also introduced to the human concept of warfare. They had heard of it in passing, but now they saw it firsthand. The history of humanity was steeped in violence, not just between species, but within the species itself. The alien students were shocked by the sheer scale of human conflict, wars that spanned continents, involving millions of lives, all over resources, ideologies, and power. Yet, despite the overwhelming toll these wars took, humans had a strange way of bouncing back. Even after losing everything, they rebuilt. It was as though war itself had become part of their evolution, shaping them into the ultimate survivors. This was the moment when the students began to understand why Earth was called a death world. It wasn't just about the planet's environment or the creatures that inhabited it. It was about humanity's uncanny ability to adapt, to innovate, and to overcome. While other species might have been content to live in peace with nature, humans were constantly fighting, constantly evolving, and constantly pushing the boundaries of what was possible. They had not just survived Earth's hostile conditions, they had mastered them, transforming a world of dangers into one of opportunity. The students began to see humans not as fragile, primitive beings, but as fierce competitors, capable of outthinking, outworking, and outlasting any threat. The more they observed, the more they realized that humanity's greatest strength wasn't its technology or its wars, it was the human spirit. The students had never encountered a species with such tenacity, a species that could adapt to virtually any environment, no matter how deadly. What was truly remarkable was how they did so with a unique combination of intellect and emotion, working together and fighting for a future in a world where survival was never guaranteed. As the students continued their observations, they saw humans in every corner of Earth, from the harshest deserts to the most freezing tundras, making their mark. They found humans in the jungles, constructing homes among towering trees, and in the oceans, using sophisticated tools to extract resources from the deep. In cities, they created vast networks of infrastructure, trading and communicating with one another to create a global society. The students saw how humans faced every challenge with relentless determination and resourcefulness. It was as if they thrived in the very adversity that would have broken any other species. And in this, the students came to understand what set humans apart, their capacity not only to endure but to thrive in a world designed for destruction. The alien students were left to reflect on what they had witnessed. They had come to Earth to observe a dangerous planet, but they had discovered something far more unexpected. Earth wasn't just a world of peril, it was a world that had shaped humanity into a species capable of facing any threat head-on, bending the planet itself to their will. The students realized that, despite the odds, it was humanity's unique approach to survival that made them truly unstoppable.